Hey interwebs, it's Jackie K, and welcome for my first edition of Pokemon Go Trainer Battles. It certainly has been a while since I've been in the Pokemon battling scene. And to be fair, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, commentating Pokemon Go battles seem to have their own hurdles to overcome. I'm honestly not sure how I'm gonna be approaching these in the long run, because unlike the typical battles that I used to do for this channel, they're much shorter, they're much more fast-paced, and while there is a depth to them that I think gets overlooked, it isn't quite as much depth as the main series Pokemon game, so my usual spiel of just commentating every single move I do and why I do it isn't gonna fill up the commentary as easily as most. And actually, the battles being so fast-paced has resulted in some challenges on the editing side I had to overcome as well. Long story short, it's been difficult to figure out how I'm gonna present the battles to you guys because Pokemon Go PvP battles are such a different beast from the Wi-Fi battles that I'm used to sharing with you all. Even though I'm saying used, like it's just the other day when it's really been at least 2 to 3 years since I've last done anything in the PvP scene. So long story short, I appreciate the patience you've all shown me, and I hope you continue to do so as I figure out a good rate to upload these and exactly how to present them. Cause it seems like if I present too many PvP battles without careful thought, it could get repetitive much more quickly than your typical Pokemon battle. With that said, I've been chewing off your ear long enough, so I'll probably talk a bit more about these things in the battles themselves. This first set of battles is a set of 3 with someone that I play with in the local area, and I'm just choosing to keep anonymous just to be on the safe side, because I haven't actually talked to them about the videos that I make currently. Pretty prominent player in the areas I play in, and a pretty chill dude as well. Now the battle just started and I'm already at a pretty huge disadvantage. This Gyarados is extra weak to electric type moves, so I put my Rhyperior in its place as soon as possible. Cause I know from my experiences in Pokemon Go raids that Raikou has no way to learn a non-electric move, so Rhyperior will be eating up these electric attacks right up. However, this still leaves me in the disadvantage overall cause I have to wait on my swap timer and he can just swap to his Kyogre here. Funny enough, which is strong against both Rhyperior's rock and ground type, so I'm pretty much right back at the same boat. On the bright side, I can at least swap into the type advantage now with my own Raikou, but I decided to go back into my Gyarados because I do have Crunch on it, and I figure I'd preserve my Raikou for later on in the match, just in case I can make use of it for his last Pokemon. Granted, if I would have known that he had the Tyranitar, I definitely would have swapped the Raikou in, because I definitely would have been able to win the match if I had my Gyarados preserved for that Tyranitar. Unfortunately, hindsight is 20/20. As my Gyarados has already taken so much damage from that last scuffle that I'm better off just letting him go down and bringing my own Raikou in to finish the job. Unfortunately though, it's my one Pokemon against his 2 Pokemon, and while I do have protective shields to block a few of these attacks, it's honestly not going to be that useful because he hasn't used a single shield yet himself. And I definitely was much better off using the shields earlier on when I could preserve either my Gyarados or my Rhyperior. Honestly, either of them would have done a much better job than my Raikou, since they both have a charge move that would have at least given me super effective damage. Unfortunately, because his Raikou resists mine, by the time I am able to take it out and face this last Pokemon, I wouldn't have had an opportunity to stand a chance, even if I had like my Gyarados and my Rhyperior. If they were in the same situation as this Raikou, they would have not gotten enough damage off in time to actually take him out. But again, hindsight is 20/20, and one of the things about this PvP system that makes it a lot different from competitive battling these days is the fact that it's completely blind. I know some of the older generations of Pokemon had a battling setup, where there was a bit of a blind bag involved, but even the ones that I can remember don't really hold a candle to how blind you are going into Pokemon Go PvP. You have no idea what your opponent will bring, beyond just like common knowledge you have of the player, what they've collected, what they've powered up. That is the closest you can get to an indication of what they'll bring, which is an interesting mechanic, but it can result in things like this where I may have been able to play better if I knew what my opponent was going to bring. By the way, that was in the Master League, and I feel like we're going to be having battles all over the place. Like this next one I believe is in the Ultra League, and we'll see if I hold up any better in it. For this battle we may be having a sense of deja vu, but despite my temptation I decided to stay in. Unlike the last battle, I actually have a trick up my sleeve. While my Gramble is Fairy, which is weak to Megaton, I do have close combat which I can use against it. However, my opponent decides to switch. I'm not sure if they foresaw that coming or wanted to switch to something with a better edge, because now I'm the one with the advantage and he still has to wait for the timer to cool down. So I took advantage of that Venusaur being on the field to bring out my Sky Attack Moltres, and while he'll valiantly hold off to the attacks with his shield, all it really does for me is give me an advantage later on, because I don't even need to waste my shields on his attacks, because I resist it with both the fire and the flying type, so I can just keep powering through, and even if he blocks all my attacks, I'll still have my fire quick move to finish the work. Now with that Magneton coming back out here and still having 2 shields, I can just block all of his electric attacks while I power through. I may not have a fire charge move, but the quick attack is doing so much damage because of the super effective damage that I can basically just use that Magneton to power up to unleash a final Sky Attack against this Rapidash. So as I've mentioned before, what you bring and what your opponent brings always plays a key role in Pokemon battling. The thing that makes Pokemon Go different, or what I should say is, one of those things is how much more of a difference having an early lead can make compared to the main series games. It's a lot harder to make a comeback in Pokemon Go, so if you play poorly or have the wrong lead, it can really cost you later on in the match. And because you can't predict what Pokemon your opponent will bring to the match, or even like in other games where you can at least take a guess at what the lead would be, team comp is even more important than it's ever been in the Pokemon series. And that's saying something because team composition has always played a major role in Pokemon battling. You really have to pick out the Pokemon you bring carefully to cover up the weaknesses of other Pokemon that you'll be facing. For example, my Granbull's a Fairy type, so it's weak to Steel and Poison. Both of those types are weak against ground types, so I brought my Sandslash to cover up the weaknesses of my Granbull. And my Sandslash is weak against water and grass types. And while I didn't have a Pokemon that covered both water and grass types, I could at least bring my Moltres, which is an overall general powerhouse that would do a good job at least covering up the grass weakness. In addition, my Granbull's fighting type move would also work to help cover up my steel type weakness. So in addition to making sure each of your Pokemon cover the weaknesses of other members of your team, it's especially useful to have a Pokemon that can cover his own weaknesses, or at least some of said weaknesses. So for this final battle here, I'm going in with the assumption of, okay, I won one, he won one. This next match decides it all, so I did a Master League, bring the best I could possibly bring, and in response, he brought the scariest of all Pokemon to exist. That's right, Shuckle. Okay, so jokingly, maybe there's a legit strategy to it. decided to go through the best of my best, and if you can't already tell from the way the size bars are laid out, this is not going to be a serious match, and I feel pretty bad just bringing the strongest thing I got, assuming otherwise. I don't gotta give you the move-by-move analysis on how this battle's gonna go down, do I? But anyways, it was a good match overall. Really hope we can have another set of matches in the future. And hopefully, we can have a match to truly decide who has the battling powers, because I don't know about you guys, but something in my gut just tells me that this wasn't a fair match. I may just be that good, because Chuckle's that OP, right guys? Anyways, thank you all for tuning in to my first Pokemon Go PvP battle up there on the good old YouTube. Again, appreciate y'all staying patient while I figure out and get a feel of how to edit and commentate these videos, because honestly, I spent a lot of time editing, having this filled out perfectly, but it turns out I had to do a good chunk of additional editing on the fly too, just by realizing how much time I actually needed to talk about everything I needed to say. On that tangent, I gotta apologize if there wasn't enough visually going on in this video. There's just so much I want to talk about, and these battles go by so quickly that it's almost impossible to fit it all within the time frame of the battle, so I'll keep experimenting around with it. If you guys got suggestions you want to throw, go ahead and throw them my way. Who knows, you guys might be thinking of something that isn't coming to mind to me directly. Okay, so as for how frequently these battles will be taking place, I'm honestly not sure, because as I said, not only do these take much longer to edit than the traditional Pokemon battlings that I used to do for YouTube, I am a little concerned if I upload too frequently that these battles would get stale to watch real quick. So there's a lot to think about. But I'll keep you guys updated as I think more about that. Anyways, thanks again for tuning in, and I hope to see you all for the next one, whatever it may be. Take care.